Hello, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Lioness Method podcast for female business owners, entrepreneurs, and leaders who are passionate about growing their leadership skills, building amazing teams, and solving real-life solutions with a growth mindset. I'm your host, Nerrissa Hsu, and today we have the amazing pleasure of speaking to Kim Walsh Phillips. Kim is a Hi. Yeah, and just to give you a bit of background on Kim, she's a multi-seven-figure business entrepreneur with no business degree and a tendency to say crazy pants more than is socially acceptable, which I love that. And she's also the best-selling author of the No BS Guide to Direct Response Social Media Marketing with Dan Kennedy and the Ultimate Guide to Instagram for Business and Game Changer, how to get 10,000 fans in 72 hours. So, and she also hosted an amazing workshop this morning, which I got to be a part of, which was the $250,000 Clubhouse strategy, which was absolutely amazing. And I almost forgot to mention that she is the founder of Powerful Professionals. So Kim, welcome, and thank you so much for spending some time.
Thanks for having me. So much fun. I cannot wait to chat with you.
Yes, I have so many questions, and I know the listeners will be really excited because I know you have a wealth of knowledge about not only building business, but building teams, and from this morning, just really how to network and open up. And I know that we actually met through Clubhouse as well. So it's been just a game changer, that app. But I want to start at the beginning just because I know that we have a lot of ground to cover today in a short amount of time. So let's start with who you serve and how you serve them.
I love that question. So I get to serve awesome entrepreneurs who are tired of relying upon word of mouth and referral in order to grow. And they want to finally become in charge of the growth of their business. So I do that through showing them how to leverage online marketing, from social media to webinars to automated sales campaigns that allow them their amazing services to be sold for them while they do other things.
I love that. And what entrepreneur doesn't need that type of help? Yeah. For sure, especially in this market. Everything has gone digital. So if you're not on some type of digital platform, then you're way behind. But call Kim. So I know that you have had several ideations of your business, and I would love to hear what challenges you needed to overcome in order to just even get started. Like, how did you start?
When I first started, my company began by someone coming to me and asking me to do consulting work for her. So she actually said this exact phrase: "I think you're supposed to own your own business, and I want to be your first client." And I was like, "What?
Wow, I love that."
That's what started me. Yeah. And that was 22 years ago, which is so crazy. And I can remember the exact moment when it happened. And I started with consulting clients that I did evenings and weekends while I held a full-time job. I quit my full-time job when it was announced on the cover of the newspaper. One of my clients announced that they were working with me. And then they're like, "Oh, you're doing other things." And they knew I was doing something, but they didn't want it to be so public. So I'm like, okay, I guess I need to go now. And that was great. I had 4 weeks paid leave at the end of that job. So it gave me 4 weeks to like crank out my business. And then we started as a marketing and PR agency doing small events and marketing campaigns for the local businesses in our town. And I was relying upon word of mouth marketing and PR in order to grow. And it was great when it was great. I would get awesome clients coming to us, but we didn't have money to advertise. I couldn't go out and promote. And I thought, if I keep sponsoring things, if I network, I'm going to get more clients. And it really never worked. And it was when I read Dan Kennedy's book, The No BS Guide to Direct Response Marketing, I was hooked. I found out about what direct response marketing means. I saw that marketing could go get me clients that I wanted to work with, and I could use those same principles to help my own clients. So it started to work. I got to meet Dan Kennedy. He became a client of mine. And then he asked me to co-author a book with him, The No BS Guide to Direct Response Social Media Marketing. It's not only a best-selling book, it's his best-selling book of all time. eventually grew my agency large enough to sell it, started my coaching business to show others how we did it. And in less than 3 years, we grew it to multiple 7 figures using the exact same strategies that it took me almost 20 years to figure out my other company. So it's been a wild ride, but it's been incredible.
That's amazing. That's quite a story. And how did you get the inspiration for this current ideation of what you're doing now? Because I hear you in all these different clubhouse rooms, and you're always on fire. I mean, you are just wonderful and very generous with your knowledge, just sharing it with ladies very openly. So where do you get your inspiration?
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It's very, very kind of you. I know that the gifts that I have, the knowledge that I have, my hands and my feet, they weren't created for me. They were created to serve others. So I literally see every minute of my day an opportunity to serve more. And I'm on fire for that. I love doing it. I feel completely in my purpose. But I'll say, that's not an accident, right? I believe our passions are not an accident. They're our God-given superpowers. Mm-hmm. And when we lean into them, amazing opportunities open up and we can serve so many more people. It's when we go against them constantly that we feel tension, that we feel pain, that we feel exhaustion. It's when we lean into what we're supposed to be doing. When we serve so hard, we can sell so easy because we're connecting with the right market and the right message at the right moment.
Oh my gosh, I love that. There's so many gems in there. And the number one thing I heard was that, selling is love. When you're in a place of providing something that is so valuable to many, right? Like the services that you're providing people, that it's really, you're loving on people. You're really off. If you didn't offer it, then you wouldn't be, in your purpose, in alignment. And I know for a lot of the listeners right now, they probably are struggling with that stress. And if you're in that place of like stress, like you just said, and just feeling kind of confined, then it is, what are some tools that you've used to kind of gain that clarity to get out of that?
But really getting super clear on who I'm serving and what it is for. So a little exercise that you could do is you write yourself a letter from your prospect. It's a year from now, and they wrote you a letter. And you're writing that now. And they're going to tell you what their life was like before they met you, what they discovered because they met you, the action they took because they met you, and what their life looks like now. You're going to write this letter out, and you're going to keep it someplace visible when you're working on your marketing, when you're working on your programs, when you're working on your messaging. So you can focus all on the person that you are serving, not on you. Because really, if we don't put our message out there, we're putting our ego in front of our mission. So how do we keep our mission front and center? We got to keep it focused right in front so we know exactly why we're doing it and who we were created to serve. And that makes it really easy because you're always thinking about, like, it keeps as people. Not actually, I'll show you something quick. And I know this is going to be audio too, but for the audio people, I'm going to get a board and I'm going to show it to her.
I love this. If everybody needs to grab a pen and paper, because this is going to be a writer downer moment right here. Kim is about to drop some gems.
There you go. This board, right? This is an example. It's just foam core. When we do a launch, I handwrite every single person's name on a sticker and I put it on the board. And I pray over each person, thanking that for their resources, their mission, their focus, and maybe multiplied, and gratitude for the trust that they have in us and the ability we have to serve them. And the reason why I do that is a few things. First of all, I want to connect with each person. I want to have that visceral connection to them. I want to hear them, see them, feel them, so I can serve them in a meaningful way. I do want to have gratitude over them, but I also want to keep them. So I want to keep them as a person, not a number. And I think too much in my industry, people start looking at numbers. Oh, I have 12, I have 120, I have 1,200, I have 1.2 million, I have 12 million. They stop looking at people as numbers. And I don't care if you have 2 people who watched your last video, if you have 2 people who listened to your podcast, those 2 people matter. It was good that you showed up for them. Stop worrying about the vanity metric of all these huge numbers and start focusing on the sanity metric of who you're actually serving. And when you do that, it changes everything of how much impact you can have inside your business.
Wow. I love that so much. It just resonates right here. And I can hear so much of the way that you're speaking that spirituality also plays a big role in your business. And what would you say to other women entrepreneurs that are listening right now about having spirituality as a base as an entrepreneur?
It's who I am in all sorts of lives. People say in this world, you're how you are in your front of the house is how you should be on the back of house. If you are that way all the time, then be that way inside your business too. If you're not that way all the time, then don't be like that in the business. Because we've also heard people who try to talk about it and it feels kind of gross because you could feel like it's not authentic, right?
Mm-hmm.
But don't be scared to be who you actually are all the time in business, because that's our authentic selves. And when we live in that zone of authenticity, number one, we don't have to remember what we say all the time when we're telling the truth.
Amen to that.
And number two, we're going to attract people who want to actually work with us because we're being ourselves. And so, I love all people regardless of their face. And I love all people, even if they don't call the thing that I call God, God. I'm totally cool. Like, I love you no matter who you are. But I do believe that there's God, and I believe in God, and I mention it sometimes in my marketing. And so if you're not okay with that, then you probably don't want to be in my world, and that's okay too. Like there's so many cups of tea that I can pour, and there's so many cups I want to pour into that are opened up, waiting to be served, that if I'm not your cup of tea, that's okay. Because I could spend all day pouring into those that are ready to be fed in their thirst, and I don't need to serve you if I'm not a good match for you.
Oh my gosh, I love that. That also resonates really clearly. My grandmother always used to say there's a lid for every pot. So it kind of goes with the teapot analogy.
I love it. So good.
Yeah. And it really is like just focusing on your true audience, which are the people that understand you, they get you because you get them, right? And you genuinely are able to love them where they are, meet them where they are in their process, and then work with that and really support them. Yeah. So that's amazing. So what role has adaptability played in your success? I know that you're a woman of wearing many hats all the time. And so how has adaptability played that part?
So you need to never be nimble in your why, but always be nimble in your how, right? That is the key. So we want to focus on why we're doing it, what our goal is, what we're trying to accomplish, but we have to be willing to move about with the way we accomplish it based on what's working right now and what else is happening in your life. Lives don't happen to us. They happen for us. And oftentimes it's to give us a detour, but it's never so we can return home. It's usually because we're supposed to find another destination to where we're trying to go. And so from, having to move a bunch of times because of my husband's job, to the kids going on virtual school because of all that going on in the world, to having to change my in-person events to virtual, to having to pivot the way we serve our market. Like there's been so much that has required a pivot, but it's always been a good thing. It really has. It's allowed us to look at things with fresh eyes, new perspective, new opportunities to serve. And we've had the most impactful year ever in this past year, being able to really, I think our business was set up for just a time as this to show businesses how to go online. And so it really gave us a beautiful place to be of service to our market because of all that's going on in the world right now.
I totally agree. It's a perfect time because we kind of have things are starting to open up, thank goodness. And we'll see how things kind of level out there, right? But I think we've kind of had a captive audience because people were at home and they're finally open to getting online, and they're seeing the value of these digital platforms. And I know that you have a wealth of knowledge about advertising and all things digital. What would your top 3 tips be for entrepreneurs or business owners that are looking at, like, say, Facebook or Instagram advertising?
So if you've tried this kind of marketing before and it hasn't worked for you, it's not because those markets don't work. It's because your message was probably off. Mm-hmm. So you want to get your message clear, and you want to make sure that your message works with people who already know, like, and trust you before you start spending any money on it. So I will always launch something first to my list, to my network, to my social media following before I start spending money on ads. And the way you want to approach marketing is you first put out a message that will attract your right market magnetically. Then you're going to get them to opt in by giving them a free gift that they're going to love, something that could be an ebook, a guide, a video, a webinar, something that they'll opt into. And then after that, it could be on the thank you page. It could be on the webinar. It could be a week later. You're going to monetize it. You don't ask for the sale up front, because nobody woke up today being like, ooh, you know what I really want? I really, really, really want to go on a sales call. Like, nobody thought that today. But they did think that they wanted you to solve their pain. They wanted you to help them make more money. They wanted you to help them lose weight. They wanted you to help them find love. You wanted to help you sleep better at night. Whatever it might be, they do have a problem that you want them to solve, or they want you to solve. And so you want to make sure that your free gift up front helps solve that problem, so that they see the stuff you have is amazing and they can't wait to do more with you. And that's when you get people asking to buy from you, and you don't have to sell to them hard.
That's beautiful. It sounds very organic. And again, it's about what you're saying all through this is that personal touch. We're getting to know the person. It's not necessarily just a number that we're selling to you, or providing value and more value. So it becomes like the natural next step. Awesome. So I know that we're coming back. This went by really fast. I know that I asked you a bunch of questions, so I have a couple more. But what's the biggest challenge for you right now, that if it were solved, it would allow you to make more money, have more time, or more freedom?
Biggest challenge would be a constant battle to be two places at the same time. There's so much opportunity to serve within my company, to coach my members, but then my girls, I have 2 young daughters, 8 and 10. They also need me. So I'm always working of how much can I get done between the time they get on the bus at 7 a.m. to the time they get off the bus at 3 p.m. And I try really hard to keep those times before and after that sacred. So like today we had this conversation because my daughter has a tutor at 4 p.m. Eastern. And so it worked out well. So where are those little pockets of time that don't take away from that? But I never feel like I'm doing that 100% well. Usually if I'm doing one, I feel like I'm being pulled from the other. And I don't know if that feeling is ever going to end. But it's something I still struggle with to this day.
Beautiful. Yeah, I think that's pretty universal, right? I think if as women, we wear so many hats, especially if we have kids, and it's really common to feel, and I think a lot of listeners that are listening right now would say that they often feel like if they're doing great in one area, then probably another area might be failing a little bit. So I hate that word balance. I don't think we have balance in our life. I think it's more about harmony, right? And being able to harmonize things and also how to delegate. Cool.
Yeah, so important.
Awesome. And then we're coming up to the end. So I'll just ask you one final question. And what has been your biggest win recently? I know just from listening to you in Clubhouse, there's so many, but can you share with the listeners?
Yeah, I would love to. We just had a virtual event called Launch Academy Live, where we teach entrepreneurs how to launch a digital course. And we had about 200 people there. We generated over $600,000 in revenue and had over 60 amazing individuals join our coaching program. So it was incredible. It was an awesome experience. It was able to be of service and impact people over several days and have it be incredibly lucrative for our company. So I could reward my team, give everyone bonuses. It was awesome. It was such a great thing, and I can't wait to do it again.
That's amazing. And your the call from this morning, if people are interested in hearing that, you are going to offer that as a replay?
Yeah, right? You can get a recording to that at any time.
Yep. Okay, awesome. So we are right at the end here. So what is the best way for the listeners to contact you?
Yeah, I think the best way would actually be via Instagram. So if you're on Instagram, you can just look me up on the Kim Walsh Phillips. That's the Kim Walsh Phillips. Or if you rather go to our website, it's powerfulprofessionals.com.
Amazing. Thank you for that. And then I will also drop those in the show notes to you for the listeners and for those of you that are watching us on Facebook.
Awesome.
And beautiful. And if you guys are watching this as a replay, please leave a message in the comments that says #replay. And we'd love to hear your comments about this chat, and maybe even any additional questions you might have that we can get back to you with after the show. All right. Well, Kim, thank you so much for your time. I know you're incredibly busy. I really appreciate you. This has been so much fun. And we are going to sign off for today. So if you've been listening all the way to the end, we appreciate you too. And keep listening. We'll be back next Tuesday with Lauren Brock from the Advocacy. I have marbles in my mouth all of a sudden. Lauren Brock from the Advocacy Group. All right. I don't know why that word's hard today, but we're just going to go with it. All right. Bye for now, guys. Have a great afternoon. And thanks again.